From the many realms of Atheris to the distant reaches of the 13th via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 45 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, November 19th of 2023. As always, the following podcast may contain mature language and spoilers for the MSQ. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and I just sold a giant leaf for a 500,000 gil. How are your retainers doing? Well, we find out how my co-host retainers are doing. First up, we have our Chaos Gremlin, Cat Mom of 2, VTuber, Savage Raider, and New Game Plusser. Is Plusser even a word? It is now. Hi, Megan. How are your retainers doing?
I haven't seen my retainers in months. They're just standing by the bell, holding who knows what crap they got me. I don't know.
Gil you are missing out on.
I don't check them very often. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
People ask me, like, how I ended up with millions of gil, like, even how did I end up with millions of gil to do the casino stuff in the first place? And honestly, like, just religious checking of retainers and putting the stuff they found on the market board along with stuff that I gathered, but retainers are a huge part of it. Like, you would not, if you check your retainers regularly, you'd be surprised how much gil you actually make from them.
We'll just say Ward's my retainer.
Fair enough. Also with us, we have our resident old man machinist who somehow, a little over a week ago, surprised the hell out of me, and I think he knows why. Brandon, I'd ask you how your retainers are doing, but first I need to know, who the hell are you, and what have you done with Brandon?
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm still me. I just decided, you know, what the heck? It's been a while. BlizzCon was kind of hype. You know, Chris Metzen came out and did a freaking natural 20 on his performance check. Maybe I'll go see how World of Warcraft's doing. More on that later. But I swear to you, I did not pick this joke after you started asking questions about retainers. I had it picked out before the show happened. And my retainers, they keep bringing me machinist weapons. But I think they're putting glue on them before they hand them over to me. They deny it, but I'm sticking to my guns.
Oh my god. See, I can't hear about things being sticky without some thoughts.
I don't want to know, do I?
You just pick the least common denominator for Megan and thoughts, and you'll probably get there in 3 seconds. I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, and I don't want to know anymore. But yes, I fired up a month subscription to World of Warcraft just for the heck of it because
the
whole World So Saga seemed like it was pretty cool. I'm like, all right, well, let's go see what the game's like because I haven't played the entirety of Dragonflight and most of Shadowlands. Why not? We'll throw a month on it. We'll level some people. So here's what I ended up doing. What?
Okay. Speaking of World of Warcraft, Ward may have convinced me to try out a private classic Kata server. And I may have spent the majority of my time in the past week leveling guys on it.
Okay.
Who the hell are you people?
You want to call me a maniac? I'm not touching classic with a 10-foot pole. I played that when it was live.
It's not official classic. Back. I'm not giving Blizzard any money. And I'm playing an expansion that I actually liked. So that's how I'm justifying it.
Can I just say something here? Of the three of us, I thought if anyone was going to be touching World of Warcraft first, it would be me!
Look, I live with Ward, okay? And he's just been constantly playing this classic Kata server. It's called Whitemane. And he got an ad for it on Reddit, and he was like, I gotta check it out. If they're spending money to advertise it, I gotta see what this is. And then he's just been playing it constantly, and I was like, fine. I'll try it, and it's just... it plugs into the goblin goo. I don't know how else to say it. You ding, you kill the things, and the numbers go up, and it feel good in brain. It's dangerous. I know.
You realize...
In a month time, I'm gonna be like, why did you guys let me play this?
We did not let you do anything. That is all your own choice and your own particular brand of crazy.
I feel like Cataclysm also plugs into your goblin goo, whatever that means. Because wasn't it around, I mean, I started podcasting around Mists of Pandaria, so I mean, I think didn't you guys do Warcraft trolls like around Mists of Pandaria time? So like Cataclysm's not too far separated from it.
I think it was Cata was we started Warcraft trolls, and then we branched off into Megan and Wordcraft. We left the Trollcasts network, and that was during Mists of Pandaria, and then we were our own thing during Pandaria, and I can't remember when we petered off. It must have been before. Is Battle for Azeroth after Pandaria?
No, that was
Legion. Legion then Battle for Azeroth. Legion was pretty good.
Legion was good. I don't remember if we were podcasting during Legion. I don't think we were.
I don't think so.
I think Pandaria is my number one nostalgia bomb because of the hunter pets, and I just want to do that again. That's all I want. And I am rolling a hunter in this Cata server, and I am like going around trying to find rare pets because I feel like that's the one button that Final Fantasy XIV does not press for me, is taming rare hunter pets, and I really miss that. Although it's not the super fun version in Pandaria where you actually have to like track their footsteps and find them.
All I can say is give them about a year to a year and a half, and when the new limited job ends up being announced to be Beastmaster, there you go.
That might be it. That might be it.
No more limited jobs.
Look, man, if it's a limited job where I get to go around and tame pets, then I will actually do it. Because I barely touched Blue Mage. I tried it out and I was like, ugh.
So, okay, let's talk BlizzCon a little bit. And I know people are going to be like, what the hell? Okay, keep in mind, we're all WoW refugees of varying different degrees.
I didn't watch anything with BlizzCon. This is all Word's fault. This is a complete coincidence to me. I don't know anything that they said. I watched the cinematic that got posted in our Discord, and I was like, well, look how they massacred my boy.
Well, here's something from BlizzCon that may not necessarily surprise you, but I find it ironic that you're trying a Cataclysm Classic private server, because Cataclysm Classic is coming very soon.
Oh, good. Then maybe my private server will bump up to Pandaria, and I can be happy.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I will say, Brandon, I get it, and you're not alone, and there are plenty of people who are like, he even literally said himself during his whole speech, now's the time to come back. And apparently a lot of people are heeding those words, and they're giving WoW a try, and they're coming back, and they're giving it a shot and stuff. I will say that I am planning to play Dragonflight before the War Within, which is the next expansion, is coming out. But I'm going to probably wait until another patch or two, because 6.55 is coming. I think the next WoW patch is going to be sometime in January. So I will probably try out Dragonflight after I've done all the stuff that's on my to-do list as far as 6.55. Once we are officially in the lull between 6.55 and Dawn Trail, when there isn't going to be a whole lot of stuff going on, that's probably the perfect time to see, okay, what was Dragonflight about? What about the patches that they put in it? Is it any good? So that's when I'll give it a shot. Not really any sooner than that. The things that they said during the WoW panel and the WoW presentation on where they're going with the story, they revealing 3 expansions in advance is pretty freaking bold.
Mm-hmm.
I know how the way they're doing it. I get how they're going to pull it off, because the first expansion is pretty much all brand new zones, while the other 2 will have new zones, but they're also involving a return to places that we've been to before. It sounds like in a lot of ways, both on a story level and on a game systems quality of life level, they have decided, okay, we need to start taking some pages from the Final Fantasy XIV rulebook. Blizzard and WoW have always had this history of taking what other games do and iterating them and trying to put their spin on it. I think they finally realized that, hey, Final Fantasy XIV does a lot of things that players like, and we need to start recognizing that and do a little bit of that.
I have a question. Hold on.
Yeah.
Brandon, you're playing retail
Yes.
right now, right?
I have since stopped because I accomplished the goals I set for myself.
Okay. Do they not have auto loot yet? Do you still have to click things?
No,
loot?
you still have to click things.
Unplayable. 0 out of 10. Never.
That I will say that is one of the things that took me forever to get used to.
Remember when it was group loot was like revolutionary, and now it's auto loot.
Yep.
They put in the private server, they like added AoE loot at least, so you don't have to loot individual bodies, which I don't think they put it into like Legion or some shit.
I don't remember when that happened.
It was late. I remember like you would kill a whole stack of bodies, then you'd just be there like click, 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 click,
yep.
click, click. I hated it. And like, oh, there's still some sparkles, and I can't tell which fucking body in this pile.
I will say one of the reasons I didn't stick around for very long, because the goal I set for myself was, okay, I have this vast army of alts that I got one level on in Shadowlands and then never went back to.
Mm-hmm.
Because that expansion just drained the life out of me.
Shocking.
As it did many people.
Yeah, so I decided, what the heck, we'll just, do the whole Chromie time shtick and level everybody those 9 levels from 51 to 60, because I didn't buy Dragonflight. I don't have it. I'm not planning on getting it anytime soon. So 60 is still technically my cap. So for me, it was just a matter of, all right, Shadowlands, you're not going to beat me. I'm going to come back in here all these months, years, whatever later, and we're just going to power through all these levels and as many alts as I can. And it also happened to be a time walking week, and time walking dungeons give redonkulous XP upon completion. So it was a goal I had accomplished in practically no time. But I remember one poignant moment when I was talking in guild chat. Someone was asking a question about a particular NPC that was important in the raid previous to the current one. They had apparently just watched a cinematic where this guy was giving this big speech or whatever, and then they went to what was supposed to be the next cinematic, and suddenly he was dead. And he's like, what the heck happened? And everybody was like, oh yeah, he was the end boss in the previous raid. I don't remember what the heck it's called. Doesn't matter. And I thought to myself, that's really emblematic of how World of Warcraft does storytelling. If you're not there in the moment, they don't particularly care to preserve how the story was supposed to go to you. They expect you to be there, see it as it's going on, and be jumping into those raids because all their major story points remained hidden behind raid boss progression.
Yeah.
And I remembered, oh yeah, this is one of the reasons I moved away from this game into 14 in the first place. If you're a new player and you come in and you want to play through the full story of Final Fantasy XIV, hey, guess what? You're going to do it. You ain't got much choice unless, you want to pay money to skip it, but then bad, smack, 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 stop it.
So I think that with Raid Finder being a thing that's not such a big deal in World of Warcraft, I think
I would agree.
Warcraft is that the second that content is not current, it's a ghost town. Nobody's doing it. You will never find a group to do it. So like if I joined now and I wanted to see all the story for fucking, I don't know, not the current expansion, and I queued up for Raid Finder, nobody would be doing it. It would be empty. And not to mention, a lot of the story is locked behind, like, you have to do your dailies with this faction, and then you'll unlock the story slowly. And then once that tier is over, nobody's doing those dailies, you're going to skip right over it, go to the next thing. You're not going to get any of that story. So what I really like about Final Fantasy XIV is it keeps all the previous content relevant with the the daily random raid finder and the, encouraging people to go back and do old content for tomestones and things like that. And it's like, it makes it mandatory so that like everybody has to play through the whole story. So there will always be people who are playing through it for the first time and people who are coming back to replay it. And there's no daily, there's no like reputation grind bullshit. Oh God.
I understand what you're saying. I will be curious to see, because one of the things that they've announced is that they announced, like I said, 3 expansions all in a row, and they gave a very top level view of the themes of like the 3 expansions and stuff that are part of this World Soul Saga thing. I am interested to see if, at least within this 3 expansion block that they do, if they make it required to start at War Within, like when Midnight, which is the 2nd expansion of the saga, and the Last Titan, which is the 3rd expansion. Like when they launch those expansions, I'll be interested to see if they require people coming in to still start at War Within, if they try to take a page from Final Fantasy XIV's book there.
So I'm saying it right now. The only thing that could get me to come back and try World of Warcraft again is if they get to the final boss and it is not revealed that the final boss was not actually the final boss, and there's actually a bigger, eviler dude who is secretly controlling this evil dude. Because they've done that for like 5 expansions now. And
here's the great thing about the current expansion. They don't even bother to deal with all of the big bads they set up at the start of the expansion.
Oh my God.
Because it's like the big bosses are these 4 primal dragons. One of them dies in the first raid. One of them turns on the others. The 3rd one dies in the current raid, which is supposed to be the last one. And the 4th one,
4th one fucked off.
Pretty much.
4th one went on vacation.
Yeah, I've been sitting there like scouring Wowpedia going like, what the heck? Where is the 4th primal dragon? Where the heck are they going to deal with him? Did I miss it? Was it like in some side quest line that I didn't watch my wife play? Because she's playing Dragonflight and she's having a blast with it. But she also doesn't really care about the storyline. She just wants to raid with her friends.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm like, ooh, I want that is to come make a pretty dragon person. Because that is supposedly possible. I've seen some hideous creations, but supposedly you can make some nice ones too. And
yeah, they're called the Drakthir. They can only be one class, and that class can only be played by Drakthir. And
what, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's lame.
Like, it's part of their whole storyline.
That's going to last for this expansion, and the next.
You're probably right. There have been data mined hints that Drakthir are getting more classes, but the Evoker class will probably only be playable by Drakthir because it's kind of tied into the whole being a dragon person thing.
All right. I mean, that's understandable, but the fact that they can't be anything else is...
I have issues with the character creator for the Drakthir. It's very comprehensive and detailed, and I'll give them credit for that. But oh my God, why are Drakthir so freaking skinny little nothing when they have all these beefy dragonkin models in the game already? Let me have some bulk.
Probably because it would have created issues with their armor.
I will tell you... Right. No, they have been cornering the furry market. And they've been doing it for a while. They dipped their toe in with Worgen. It didn't really work out because the female Worgen. I like to think that they were trying to corner the furry market with Worgen, but they didn't have any actual furries on staff. So that's how it turned out so horrific. They're like, we got to make these Worgen sexy. They're like, how do we make it sexy? Give her a Barbie doll body and big Disney eyes, and then it turned into this horrific chihuahua creature. And they were like, oh no, well, okay, but what if we make like little cute furry creatures like that'll be better. That's more in our wheelhouse. They did that, and now they've got the fucking scalies, and they actually have some furries on staff finally. So that's why they're coming out better.
To bring it back to 14, is that why we're taking forever to get a reveal on female Hrothgar? They're trying to market test with enough furry groups?
Maybe. Well, I'm just like, they're probably struggling, being like, how do we make this anime sexy? Because it's got to be anime sexy.
I think there's enough VTuber models out there that have pretty good ideas as to where you could go.
I just hope that they actually are beefy and intimidating looking and not like, oh, hello, I'm a cute little Barbie doll with a cat head pasted onto it. Because, like, we have enough of those, okay? If I want to be a cute little cat person, I'll be a Mikote. I don't need... I want we have the cat boy, we have the cat man, we have the cat girl. I want the cat woman, please.
I never thought the words female Hrothgar market testing would connect in my brain.
It's a delicate balance. But honestly, yes, they should just they should go on to shit. What's the furry equivalent of DeviantArt? It's like Fur Affinity, I think. Just start hiring. Just search in like muscle lady and hire the best artist you could get and be like, please help. How we make this sexy but also strong.
Just check Final Fantasy fan art forums, and based on the stuff they do there, you can probably find some people who'd be able to do that kind of stuff.
True. But yeah, the fact that male Hrothgar are like kind of just like hunched over Rogadin with the lion head slapped on there, I'm not very hopeful that female Rogadin will not, or female Hrothgar will not just be female Rogadin with the lion head slapped on them. But I would settle for that. All right, at least they would be big.
I mean, I'll cut them some slack on male Hrothgar because they're basically just based on the Ronso from Final Fantasy X. So they kind of didn't really have a whole lot of room to stretch with the idea. So I don't know. I feel like they kind of painted themselves into a corner there.
The Ronso weren't hunched over. They were big, but they were like proportional. They were like tall, beefy dudes, but they weren't like
they were also blue, weren't they?
They were blue.
Yes.
Their heads were not tilted forward so hard. I don't know how to put this. Like it's like
maybe I need to go play 10. I think you might be right. Actually, looking at them now.
They had like a normal human neck and like, yes, a cat head on top, but like they weren't jutted forward, kind of like the Worgen are. I don't know what it is with animalistic races and jutting the neck forward, but it never works well. Don't do it. It looks bad. Or if you're gonna do it, fucking commit. Like, I feel like the male Worgen is like the only one that works for, because the face is so bestial. And then and the shoulders are so wide that it fits together. It's not
I'm looking at pictures of Ronzo, just pulled it up on Google, and there's only one picture of a Ronzo that looks kind of like has that Hrothgar male pose. And do you know why that Ronzo has that Hrothgar male pose? Because it's the frickin' elder of the Ronzo tribe.
Oh, so all our Hrothgar are just like elderly. Got it. But yeah, I played Final Fantasy X. I think I played 8.
That was a good one.
I did not play 9 for some strange reason. I don't remember why.
I never figured out why I didn't.
Keep your fingers crossed that they do like a graphical remaster of 9, because that will be a treat. The story of 9 and the gameplay of 9 are solid. Graphically by today's standards, I mean, of course, very, 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 very rough. But the gameplay and story was great on it, and they actually there are a group of people that are working on like a fan remaster of 9 with video, animation, and voiceovers and stuff like that. And that project looks amazing. But I think Square's going to do their own remake of it. That'll probably be long after 7 is done. Can I tell you guys, I've set aside a week of vacation just for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm just putting it out there. That's how excited
I really need to get a hold of the PS5 so I can play that.
There's another Final Fantasy VII remake coming.
Well, yeah, the remake only covered the first, less than half of the first disc of the original game.
So Final Fantasy VII Remake took place almost entirely in Midgar, and this one takes place in most of the open world outside of it.
What the fuck, dude? Well,
Right.
they're charging you twice for the game.
No,
They're breaking it into 2 pieces.
They're probably going to have to break into 3, and also this is a complete reimagining of the game. Like, gameplay's different. There's a lot more added content. Even the story is slightly different. I cannot say more without spoiling things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, if you're going to say that it's a remake of this previous game and then you're going to split it into 3 different games and charge $60 for each, that's some like Sims logic.
Here's the thing.
Shit.
Okay, minor spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake. If anyone cares, stop listening. Its remake has a double meaning to it, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake is a reimagining and a remake, yes, but it's also, without digging too deep into this, it's also a sequel to Final Fantasy VII. I can't explain why.
That's what I was trying to say. The story is similar, but also different. And saying anything else is a pretty substantial spoiler.
Yes.
If you haven't played the original, does the new one make any goddamn sense?
No, you can enjoy if you never played the old one, you can still play this one and enjoy it for what it is. But people who have played the old one, when they play this new one, they will see differences, very deliberate differences that will let people who play the old one know there's more to this than meets the eye.
The remake, at least, was a spectacular title. It is one of my favorite things I've ever played.
Yeah.
Also, I was completely obsessed with the original FF7 soundtrack, and so hearing all those tracks not only changed, but also massively upscaled in quality. Oh, so good.
Also looking forward to the Final Fantasy 16 crossover and Final Fantasy 14. But
speaking of crossovers,
as I try to segue into stuff here,
how
much have the two of you played Fall Guys in Final Fantasy 14?
Enough to get the sweater. And that's pretty much all I want.
I see you have your priorities.
Yeah, man. Fall Guys is pretty fun. Like in actual Fall Guys, when the mechanics are built specifically for platforming, but
and there's player collision.
Yeah, there's player collision, and you grab each other and you throw each other around. I'm not a fan of the Fall Guys. I'm not a fan of platforming in Final Fantasy 14. I fucking hate it. So like this is like, hey, you want to do platforming in Final Fantasy 14, but more bullshit? I'm like, not really.
With more bullshit and with, now mind you, the netcode issues, like the delay and the lag on effects and stuff like that should be nothing new to people who do raid stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. People complaining about that shit, I'm like, I barely noticed it, but, because it's like, coming from WoW rating into Final Fantasy 14 rating, it is an adjustment. When it's not when the circle goes off, it's like there's a delay, and like you can't like explain it. You have to just kind of experience it and like get it in your muscle memory. And like with Final Fantasy 14, it's like you move. If it's like one side is going to go off and then the other side is going to go off, you like move into the side that is going to go off when the thing is like still there. It's like I can't. It's really hard to like logically explain the videos that do it, but it's like you got to learn the timing. It's totally different.
The best boss for teaching the timing, unfortunately, is a boss that you have to get through a whole bunch of other bosses to experience, and by then you already know it. But Athena, when she does that stuff with her wings, you totally have to go a step ahead of the game, or else you're going to get screwed.
Yeah. So if you're a new player, you haven't done much raiding or any raiding, or you've just, you've done normal mode rating where it doesn't really matter anyway. It's very easy for somebody to show up thinking that like, oh, these things mean that it's going to hit when it says it's going to hit. It's like, no, I'm sorry. That's not how it works in this game. But yeah, in WoW, it's literally like you see poop on the ground, you get out of the poop and like, okay, But like in Final Fantasy 14, it's like you see poop on the ground, you know that the thing is gonna go off, and you can get out of it at the last. You can get out of it like at the very last second because there's like a second between the poop circle going away and the thing actually hitting.
Yep.
So it's really hard to explain, but it's like
here's the funny thing. It's like I know how that delay works. I've done it in raids and stuff all the time. When I'm
but you're also dealing with this other bullshit happening at the same time.
But here's the thing. When I'm playing Fall Guys in Final Fantasy 14, I forget that I'm playing Final Fantasy 14, and I think I'm playing because my eyes are seeing a very Fall Guys screen, so my brain is grokking Fall Guys rules, and then I get area effects that happen. And it's like what? No, it should have happened then. It's like, but you're not playing Fall Guys. You're playing Final Fantasy 14 with a Fall Guys skin on it, Brian.
Well, also, like, we're bringing our friends in who we're now, like, halfway through Heaven's Ward, who have not really done any raiding at all. And now we have to explain, like, what Force March is and what, like, how these, like, getting spun in a little tornado, like, you weird moving and all these other, like, random raid rules that they just throw in there.
Hey, I respect that they're teaching Forced March, though, in Fall Guys.
Well, and also like the countdown, and then you got to stop. People screw that up so much, and so maybe it is good, but it's a lot to take in all at once.
You know, it would be pretty cool if, like, the next time that they do, whenever they irregularly bring Fall Guys back, if they have new courses, but if they could use Blunderville as a kind of low-key way to teach other, like, current raid mechanics, or heck, well, okay, here's the thing. Very early on, when you are leveling characters and playing through Realm Reborn content and stuff like that, there's that thing at level 10 that teaches you the basics of being a DPS, a healer, or a tank, right? What if they did something like that when you hit, a higher level for just the basics of certain raid mechanics, like just different raid mechanics of this is a Forced March thing, this is this thing, and I mean, yes, Fall Guys is doing that, but have it be like a constant thing that just a course that you can take on raid mechanics. Like, this is what these icons mean. I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, I definitely would. Especially since they like to do story through raids, although they're technically not part of the MSQ, but still, it's and especially for when they introduce new harder ones, and it's like, you don't get this, you're gonna just eat shit and die, or when a new raid comes out and it's really hard. And even in normal mode where everybody's wiping.
That reminds me, I'm bouncing back to WoW really quickly just to see what you think about this as far as, like, one of the things they're planning to do in future content. This is even before War Within comes out. This is like the next Dragonflight patch. They're coming out with follower dungeons. Basically, you can go in single player. They're basically doing Trust for WoW dungeons.
I would say WoW needs it more than Final Fantasy 14 does. Like, goddamn, people are toxic in WoW dungeons. Like,
well, not only that, but I think if they do this system in WoW, it's going to give them more reason. And, like, one of the things about the dungeons is the dungeons feel in WoW feel as separated from the MSQ as a lot of the raids in Final Fantasy are kind of separated from Final Fantasy's MSQ.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of have things that each does that differently. So it'd be nice if, like with this system, they may be able to just make the dungeons tie into World of Warcraft story more, main story more.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a while since I've played through a WoW expansion.
Yeah.
But, I think the problem with WoW is that you're really encouraged, like, once you out-level content, to just skip ahead. And so...
Right.
Oh, yeah, like, as soon as if you try leveling through the whole Chromie time thing, the second you hit that cap, she yeets you out of it. Be like, hope you weren't wanting to finish that story, because we got an important thing you need to deal with.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What the hell, little gnome dragon? I was
Yeah.
invested in that.
And like the Final Fantasy does this in such the opposite way of like you could be hilariously over leveled,
Yeah.
but you still got to do all these quests. But I kind of
on
prefer
the
it that
important
way.
stuff, they just scale you down.
Yeah, I kind of prefer it that way. Where like, no, we're all going to watch the same story. We're all going to see the same thing. Whereas with WoW, it really encourages you to tune out the story because there's a good chance you're going to outlevel it, and you're just going to move on to the next zone or the next thing. And like, what's the point of getting invested or learning anything?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're not very story focused, so maybe that's for the best. They need to
That
up
might
their
be
writing
changing.
game. Okay, here's my caveat. Blizzard, if you're gonna force players to experience your story, you got to get some good writers, and you got to make it a story worth experiencing. Okay, I know that you've been coasting on the Goblin Goon number go up, but if you want to make it more of a story experience, it needs to have a good story, and you gotta have it planned out from the beginning.
I
Begin.
think that's one of the reasons they brought Chris Metzen back is because they
And-
realized so much of the crap we've taken has been because the story is garbage. And I mean, even the ending of the current expansion's raid has been panned wildly. And I'm just like, oh man, like just it's the usual WoW toxic fandom sort of thing. But at the same time, I have not seen almost anything either. At the very least, good-naturedly poking fun at it. At the very softest, I haven't seen pretty much any positive impact for how the raid ended at all.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. The problem is they really do not have consistent characters. That's my experience.
Oh God, do they ever not?
It's that like you'll like me, I will run like a quest or something and I'll get really attached to a character and the way that they are, and then they'll come back in a later expansion, I'll be excited to see them, and they're just not who they were. And like they're doing all this weird shit, or they're suddenly evil, and I'm like, what the what?
Gina
No.
Proudmore sends her regards.
Gina has entered the chat. Fucking
Sylvanas Windrunner sends her regards. Pretty much, I hate to say it, but this is sadly true. Almost any female character in World of Warcraft sends her regards.
Right? It's always like, oh, and then she got too emotional. And she got manipulated into doing something evil.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
they've definitely been called out on that shit a lot.
Oh. And like I love a well-written female character. I love a boss babe. I loved Sylvanas for the longest time because she was a cold-hearted bitch. And like so often in fantasy media, they're like, it's the girl, she's the healer, she's the heart of the party, she's so nice, she rules through kindness. And Sylvanas is just there like, out of my way, bitch. We're plaguing the shit out of this place. Melt their skin or their flesh from their bones. I'm like, oh shit.
Megan is definitely Team Lae'zel.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I really like about Baldur's Gate is that all the female party members are so different. In they're all not the girly one, but in very different ways.
The girliest one is the freaking barbarian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Oh my god, what was I talking about? I was talking about Sylvanas. But yeah, so I made a Worgen, me shitting all over the Worgen, so I made a Worgen. Redoing the original Cataclysm starting zone when Sylvanas shows up, and she's like lying to the orc guy who's like, oh gosh, don't do any plague. And she's like, of course we're not going to do any plague. Send Garrosh my regards, kissy face. And then the guy leaves, and the second in command's like, should I tell them not to do the plague? She's like, no, we're doing the plague. Fuck that guy. Plague this shit.
Oh yeah,
We're
that's right. It
melting
wasn't Garrosh. It was one of his cronies.
I loved Garrosh versus
What
Sylvanas.
makes you different from the Lich King? I serve the Horde.
Yeah, it was so funny of like Garrosh just like trying to rein in Sylvanas was fucking hilarious. I loved it. Because like Garrosh was like, okay, look, I'm a fan of extreme measures, but what the fuck? And I still hate what they did to Garrosh in the end. I liked him in Cataclysm of like, yeah, this is what happens when you take the Blood and Thunder and the Orc Honor thing too far, buddy. And it also would have been nice to have Thrall actually, you know, have some consequences for that shit and like learn something. But no, he did not. Everything was wasted. And I'm sad.
Have either of you been through the new Criterion dungeon?
Nope.
No.
Wow.
I've just been whenever I log in, I'm playing with my friends and we're going through Heaven's Ward. So like we just killed Nidhogg.
All right.
And of course my friend who is obsessed with dragons is like constantly like one step ahead of the story, and I'm like, oh, she's just paying really close attention to the dragons. She's like, well, clearly that's Hrothgar's eye because he only had one eye and that's the same color. And I'm like, oh Jesus.
Nidhogg was a 0.3 boss of Heaven's Ward, right?
Oh no, like in the dungeon.
Oh, in the dungeon.
Like part of the story. Yeah. You kill him and you get the eyeball.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then, yeah, we haven't gotten to the point. We haven't gotten to the two ball hands. That has not happened yet. No.
So you've not. We have not. Harshaphant is still Harshaphant.
Harshaphant's still there.
Yeah. Oh God! Please tell me you're going to stream the dungeon. Please.
Maybe I'll just record it. Maybe I'll just screen record it.
Yes, please.
Oh my God.
I want to see and hear the anguish.
We're still calling it the Elf Boyfriend expansion. And also, of course, it's me. So the biggest joke is that Estinian is stinky. And so the fact that while Estinian was like riding Nidhogg around and got covered in blood and turned red, and then we like got out of dungeon, I'm like, somebody hose down Estinian. No, he's red for the rest of the expansion. He's a stinky, stinky boy.
Yep.
Oh my God. He also makes a really creepy face when he goes in for the death shot on Nidhogg. So I'm like, whoa, bestie, you're a little too into this.
Oh, it's got to stink up the joint.
Well, but I always call, even though I love to make fun of him, I always call Estinian Bestinian and our bestie because I don't know why it amuses me. But yeah, like
I'm still surprised that you don't call him Estinkian.
You know, I might. Oh, we started calling Ishgard Bishgard because everybody's a bish there.
It's true.
We're like, oh, fucking, we gotta go back to the French Catholics back in Bishgard. Time to spread
French
some
Catholic
gossip.
Elves, no less.
I know, right? We just got to the point where Ysayle had her life beliefs denied. She's not actually the reincarnation of Shiva. She's not actually in love with Hrothgar. And she's sad about it. And Estinian is just like, yeah, just leave her. Let her think about what she did.
Let her think about her heresy.
At least he understands and he believes. He changes for a zealot. He changes his opinion, or he's ready to believe the fact that his ancestors started this shit fairly quickly. He's like, and I think it's because we witnessed it and not just Ysayle. We had a little echo in front of him. We had a little echolocation.
Echolocation.
I don't know why he just automatically believed. He's like, oh yeah, you stood around drooling for a few seconds. You must have seen the founding of Ishgard. I'm glad that you believe in us. Thank you. But why though? I don't think we've done anything to prove it to you. If we had a scene before that where we had an echo of his past, and he was like, I never told anybody that I refused to shower in junior high.
Oh.
Brandon, what have you been up to in 14? I know I know you mentioned something about doing maps with AIE recently.
Yeah, I've missed a couple of map nights just for various instances of feeling like crap. But mostly a lot of that, a lot of making some gil. I have actually been, since I gave up on World of Warcraft again, I've been going over to the the new data center and playing my Al Rawls over there, just trying to redo the story from his eyes. He was the character I originally made when I joined AIE because I didn't start over there, and then I ended up fantasiaing him to a cat girl, and I'm like, oh, she's actually kind of cute. All right, we're gonna make up a new backstory and a new character arc for this one. So never turned him back into his Al Raw form. He's a cat girl permanently now. So I remade that character over on one of the new data centers to take advantage of the buff that gives a crap ton of XP. And I've just been replaying through ARR for a bit. It's fun.
Oh yeah, our characters are it's Dynamis, right? The new
Dynamis.
Yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Oh my god, yeah, we've got
fogged.
the fucking. We're all leveling like 3 classes at once because otherwise it's just like you out level shit so extremely.
It's true.
God. Like the XP boost is fucking redonkulous.
Yep.
And in a way, well, it's also like the game isn't designed for this XP boost. Like in WoW,
it's really not.
In WoW, it would be fantastic. In Final Fantasy 14, it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah, it's like you really don't do a lot of fighting in the overworld, so you're not overpowered against anything. And anytime you go into like areas where there's a lot of fighting where you need to be in, it's a duty. So hey, down sink you go, my friend.
Yep. And your gear is always kind of crappy because it's always like previous.
Well, it's like it always feels like it's at least current for where the MSQ has you. You're just substantially below where you should be level wise.
Yep. Oh, which my friend, not the dragon one, her husband, is leveling samurai, and he had his like level 70 samurai quest where it puts you in a duty, and his gear was so shit.
No.
He could not. He spent like an hour trying to do it. He's like, I don't understand. I am getting 2-shot. We're like, what's your gear like? Eventually, like we're like, are you using your defensives? Are you getting out of the AoE? And then like eventually, where it's like, hey, what's your gear like?
What is your average item level on your gear?
Oh, it was so bad. It was like still the samurai starting gear, and so. It was like, no. So we got him some, I can't remember, whatever the tombstone gear is for the level. But I remember I had trouble with that fucking instance, and I had decent gear at the time. It's the one where you, like, fight a dude on a boat. I don't know.
God.
Yeah.
I hated that one so much. I still fail it sometimes.
It's difficult at the best of times. But yeah, that one was like, oh no. And yeah, so like they're constantly, and also because, my friend picked Dancer and her husband picked Samurai, like they got up to the level that you need to be to get those and then switched over. So your starting gear of that is like better than any of the questing gear you're going to be getting. So
yeah, it's equivalent in power to the previous expansion's Tombstone cap.
Yeah, so they've just been, in their class starter gear for a long time. But yeah, it's funny. She's a bunny boy dancer. He's an Aura samurai.
I remember, I don't remember which time I did it, but one of the times I did the final dancer quest line where you're basically having to like perform with your NPCs against this weird looking giant shadow creature.
Yeah.
I wiped on that like 6 times before I realized, I still have like level, 7 or 68 gear or whatever the heck the thing was. Like, well, no wonder I can't do any damage. So I went and found the vendor that sold like the starter gear for the next expansion. Just bought a set of that because at the time I had no tombstones to, buy whatever the tombstone aiming set was, and I didn't have enough money to play the market board. So I just, bought a few pieces off of the freaking vendor gear, not even the high quality stuff. And it was like, oh, this is substantially easier.
Yeah, man. It's, those class quests are no fucking joke.
Yeah, some of them are particularly like, oh, okay, this is designed to be a culmination of everything you've learned beforehand. Hope you've been paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be able to relate because I have not played too many class quests.
Oh, come on. Get out of your casino. Expand your horizons.
It's not the casino I have to get out of. It's freaking Baldur's Gate. You don't understand.
Fair.
I'm currently doing 2 playthroughs, which are my second and third playthrough. The second playthrough is with Zim. It's a duo playthrough.
Oh,
and
I started a playthrough with Ward. Turns out, if you have if we're both on like the same account using it, but like he can still come join my game. Like we didn't have to buy a second copy to play together.
Interesting.
And he's on his computer and I'm on mine, so it's great. I made a halfling bard named Alfie, and if you get it, nice. And he is he's a tiefling paladin, I think. Oh, it's fun. We're trundling along.
So you might remember, like an episode or 2 ago, Megan, that you and I think Brandon also just had this talk with me and said, "Stop killing off your characters. Stop killing off your party members." Well, in the playthrough with Sim,
except Astarion, always kill him. That's
no, do not kill Astarion.
It is morally correct to murder a vampire.
No, it is not. He's not. He didn't want to be a vampire. Okay.
Nobody wants to be a vampire. It doesn't mean you don't kill them.
He's not like a real vampire anymore. Okay. He's got a squiddly in his head, and it gave him superpowers, and now he's like a good vampire. All right.
He still tried to bite me in my sleep. Just saying.
Just a little bit. Like you've never made a mistake.
Not one involving biting my friends' necks.
Well, you just didn't go to the right kinds of parties.
So, like I was saying, in my playthrough with Zim, kind of sort of Baldur's Gate 3 spoilers coming up here. In my playthrough with Zim, we never ran into Astarion, so Astarion never made it into the party.
What?
We just literally did not go to the spot where he was. So Astarion never joined the party. When we got to the point where you're at the creche and things are going down, Lae'zel was in our party, and Lae'zel turned on us because of some failed checks and certain decision choices that were made. It wasn't intentional that we were trying to kill Lae'zel. Lae'zel turned on us and said, "Well, screw you guys." And so Lae'zel attacked us, and we had no choice but to take out Lae'zel. So Lae'zel died. And during Act 2, during a pivotal scene involving Shadowheart, and I'm sure you two know the scene that I'm talking about.
Man, I haven't made it to Act 2 yet.
Okay,
what?
Well, I will simply say during a pivotal part in Act 2, certain things were said and certain checks were not made, and Shadowheart died.
Oh my god.
So what you told me to do is going terribly wrong in my playthrough with Zim. Now, that being said, I will tell you that my solo playthrough that I am doing, I have made it a point to not only do everything in my power to not kill everybody, I'm taking it one step further. I'm attempting to get max attitude, reputation, whatever, with every single character in the party, which is kind of a feat when you consider that Astarion's an evil son of a bitch. So you have to
be a bard or a sorcerer with max charisma and just riz everybody.
So I right now have Karlach, Shadowheart, and Lae'zel all at 100. I have Gale at 100. I have Will at like 70 something, and I have Astarion at 30 something.
Oh my god, getting Will and Astarion to both like you, it's gonna be a challenge.
Well, it's the biggest part of it is you don't have both of them in the party at the same time.
True.
Like the trick to Astarion is if you're working on Astarion, you have Astarion in the party when Lae'zel and Gale are in the party, because even though Gale is generally a good guy, Gale will also certain decisions Gale won't disapprove. He just he won't necessarily, he'll be neutral about it. So
He's a little more
whenever
pragmatic than a lot of the others.
right, so basically, Astarion and Will are the last people I have to work reputation on. Will have, I think, a lot of opportunity to get to that 100 once I get into Act 3, but right now I'm trying to work on Astarion. And Astarion will have some Act 3 opportunities too. But I thought it was going to be hard to get Lae'zel and Shadowheart both at max, but it was a lot easier than I thought.
I think that they fight because they're more similar than they want to admit. That's my read on the situation. It's like, Lae'zel...
Yeah, but you don't want to have them in the party at the same time. Usually, if you pick a decision that one would approve of, the other tends to disapprove it. And I think, and sometimes I think it's just because they're there. I don't know.
See, my method of playing is putting people in the party whose banter is the funniest in between.
Well, then that would be
as they go.
That would be Karlach, Astarion, and Minsk. If you ever get Minsk,
I haven't gotten Minsk. I do. I have Karlach. Pretty much. I pretty much always have Karlach and Shadowheart because they're my tank and healer, and then I switch out the other one depending on the situation.
Yeah,
but,
I do have to say though, having Minsk, it's pronounced Minsk by the way. Having him around is just a gold mine of hilarity, and the fact that it's voiced by Matt Mercer is just even better.
What is he?
Minsk. He's a human ranger.
Yeah. Oh. But he's not like any human ranger you've ever seen before.
Yeah, right. Without getting into too much spoilers, let's just say the man has an int score of 2, and his particular animal companion is just hilarious, and just leave it at that.
All right, I'll be on the lookout. I have found the doggo.
Good old Scratch.
Doggo and Owlbear. Big gets. I'm always like, go straight for those because they're so cute together. And everybody's like, this is going to be a problem later when the owlbear gets bigger. I'm like, yep, we'll deal with that then.
Lae'zel and Gale. That's Lae'zel and Gale. Shadowheart and Karlach, they're all for the animals.
Mm-hmm. I love animals. Any game that lets me pet a dog, 10 out of 10.
I'll do you one better. Later on, you can play fetch with him.
Oh yeah, no, we can do that now. He brought me a ball, and it's hilarious. He used the throw mechanic, and he brings it back.
He will bring it back every time, and it's the cutest thing ever.
That's the other thing is like all my characters, I like make it so they have talk to animals, like either through the little like cross class thing or just straight up like their original class. I'm like, sorry, always got to put a spell slot in to talk to animals. Oh my god, this is the Final Fantasy 14 podcast, guys.
I knew that this episode was going to be off the rails entirely.
Let's just call this the RPG podcast. The role player.
Well, with on that note, we're gonna wrap up our RPG podcast for this time around. Megan, where can people find you on the interwebs?
All my socials are Catmom Megan. That's Twitter, that's Twitch, that's Tumblr, that's freaking. I even have like an Instagram. My TikToks are generally highlight videos from my Twitch or videos of the kitties. So premium content, baby.
When are you getting back to the what the FF14 race you play says about you series?
Oh, I need
if memory serves, you're on Rogadin, and I want to know what that says about me.
Oh god, the giant woman song was originally for female Rogadin, but then I switched it over to Karlach. But yeah, I stream on. I've changed it to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch at Catmom Megan. Right now, I'm in a big Christmas kick. When I'm not feeling well, I retreat into Christmas. So I have decked out my stream in Christmas stuff, and I very often have like a Christmas carol karaoke playlist. So no matter what I'm doing, there's gonna be weird Christmas shit happening. So I don't know if that don't appeal to you. I'm sorry. I got to do it for me.
I mean, we're a week away from the official start of Christmas season. Some people think the official start of Christmas season is Halloween. I still say it's Thanksgiving, but hey.
Yeah, well, okay. My birthday is on the 24th, and so it's the day after Thanksgiving. And growing up, I was very protective of Thanksgiving because of this, which is just the stupidest thing ever. Of like, Thanksgiving's a real holiday, guys. Don't start doing your Christmas shit, okay? Turkeys deserve some respect. Like, what the
My
fuck,
wife's
child?
birthday was 3 days ago, and she was the exact same way up until the pandemic.
Oh! Turkey birthday sisterhood. Yeah, man. I've always been very like protective of like, let there be a full season before we get into Christmas. But man, fucking VTube Studio has a bunch of Christmas assets, and I went nuts.
Oh man.
So yes, come hang out. We will sing Christmas carols, Christmas songs, and we will. I've been working on my webtoon. I just updated on Friday. I have a link to that in my Twitter, and I usually link to it during Twitch when I'm working on it. So, Pickup Group to Another World is back, baby.
Wait,
Toss me a link to it, and I'll try to put it in the show notes as well.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
updated it? Why did I not get a notification?
I don't know it. Let me make sure it actually updated because yeah, it did.
What
I
the
don't know.
frick? Okay, now it's there. Oh my god, Webtoon! I'm gonna fucking. Okay,
Yeah.
Brandon. Well,
Yes.
while you're trying to figure that out, where can people find you?
just the BMAT everywhere. Links to everything are at bio.link/the BMAT. Yeah, just pick your social network du jour. I'm the BMAT on there. Just find me, enjoy whatever I decide to post. It's not very much because I am going through a mental period of my life where I'm like, I don't want to post anything because nobody probably thinks I'm interesting. So I just don't post anything at all. And it's very, very draining on myself. So maybe I'll kick that sooner or later.
Yeah, kick that. You have a funny thought. You post that shit. That's what Twitter was for originally. Twitter was originally for like, haha, I thought of something silly. And then like, bam, post that shit. That's what tweets should be. It shouldn't be all this other bullshit. It should be like, oh, melted ice cream is just sweet soup. You know, like that should be what your tweet is. All right? Not just absolute nonsense thoughts that are 150 characters or less. That's what it should be. Return us to the original Twitter. God damn it. Except do it on Blue Sky because fuck Twitter.
Yeah.
And don't name it after a letter of the alphabet. You can find me on that letter of the alphabet at Podcaster Row. You can find the show at A Podcast Reborn, and you can email us at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. That is going to do it for episode 45. Our theme music for the show is provided by Husky by the Geek. Link to his YouTube channel will be included in the show notes. And Final Fantasy music you hear on the show is copyright Square Enix, and no copyright infringement is intended. That's going to do it for episode 45. We will be back with you sometime in December for episode 46. The holidays are kind of a funky time, so be patient with us. Until then, for Megan, for Brandon, and of course for Butterscotch and Bon Bon, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon.
Question for you guys. What did Ifrit say to the group that he was fighting when he wiped them?
You're toast.
Nailed it.
It's because I'm on Dayquil.
Well, that's 1 point for Megan.
No, wait, guys. I think you missed the joke. Mia didn't get it right. Nailed it was the answer.
Oh no!
Nailed it. Oh.
Mine was better.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Yours was great. Mine was perfect. Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.